All right, hello everyone once again. Thank you for joining back in with us here on our live Q&A session. I'm Chris from DecoNetwork and I'll be hosting today. All right, so feel free if you're just tuning in or have some questions that you've kind of queued up, feel free to type those into the live chat. All right, we'll be reviewing that chat throughout the session and pulling from those questions that you guys are submitting. All right, and those can be related to your setup process, your ongoing usage of DecoNetwork, new scenarios that you're running into and need some solutions, all right? All right, so while we wait for some users to start submitting questions, let's go ahead and jump into a couple things that we can cover here. First one is a tip that we had this week. We had, user asking the question, how do I turn off a web store? And that's a pretty frequent question. We do have a lot of our users that run the affiliate stores as maybe school booster sites, sporting teams, or for the parents to go in and order uniforms for the kids. And these are seasonal purchases, so the operators prefer to kind of have the site online for a period of time, and then once they're no longer accepting orders for the season, take that site offline. All right, so we're going to take a look at how you can kind of accomplish that. We don't have actually a specific feature to turn off a site, but there are some good alternatives to just turning off the site completely. All right, so I'm just going to walk through those. All right, let's click into my websites list. Here I can see a list of all of my affiliate stores. From here I can press the Manage button on the right hand side to manage one of those stores. Let's say the football booster site. Alright, once I'm managing that store, I can go into the left hand side and click Administration. And so the first option that we'll look at is to redirect that store, right? So I'm done for the season with my football booster site. I'm no longer taking orders. So I just want, anyone who's visiting that site, maybe the school shared that that link, that URL to, they did an email blast to all of the parents. So there are some parents still trying to purchase even though the sale is done. I just want to send that maybe back to my primary site. So I can use the redirection option for that purpose. This page is fairly straightforward. You get one input field to enter the address where you want your customers to go when they attempt visiting that site. Right. So in my example here, I might do https ccruise beta.securedecoration.com. All right, let's hit save. Now it's important here to include your protocol, whether that's HTTP or HTTPS. If you don't include that, the system's going to assume that this is a redirection relative to that current site. So let's just give an example here. So if I attempt to visit that site, I'm redirected to my primary store. I can no longer access that football booster site. I just get redirected back to my main site. So the redirect is working. One thing to mention, the redirect won't work if you're logged in as an admin. So you do still have the benefit of you being able to go in and view the site, even though it may be redirected for anyone who's viewing it. Right? So there is that benefit. So let's just, again, do that example. Let's say I left off my protocol from the redirect link. And if I try and access that again, you're going to see I'm getting this error message. So what the system's actually thinking is, because you've not entered in the protocol, the path that you've entered is part of that existing website. So it's super important to make sure when you're using that redirection option to include the protocol for the site that you're redirecting to. All right. So that's the first option. That would essentially shut off access to the site. There is one more option, so let's take a look at it. And that one's going to be found under Store Configuration, Customer Options. So actually, before we do that, let me turn off this redirect. All right, now let's go into Store Configuration. We're going to go into Customer Options. And here we're going to override the default settings for customer options. And the option that we're looking for here is customers must be logged in to view the website. All right, so I'm going to turn that option on. And then you have two ways that you can password protect the site, using each user's own username and password, which you may not want, right? You want those parents to no longer have access to it. And they may have already registered, so they may already have a username and password in. So in this case, as far as using this feature to turn off a site, we want to use option 2. Customers can log in using a generic password. All right, so you can go ahead and set that password yourself. We'll use a super secure one here, password. All right, and if we now take a look at that website, visit it from a separate browser here, you'll see I'm no longer going to see the site. Instead, I'm going to be prompted to enter that password. So I'm going to get a password prompt. Right, so here it is. Again, I can no longer see that site. I would need to enter in that generic password. Once I enter it in, I get access into that site again. Right, so those are the two different options that you have for how to turn off a site. Either redirect that somewhere else or password protect it. Both of those options are beneficial in that they both give you access as the operator to continue viewing that site, managing the products on that site. So there's no downside as far as the management. It's really more for the customer not to be able to view those products and order them. All right, so that covers turning off a site. All right, looks like we have a question from Justin here, who's asking about visitors and visits. Okay, so you're talking about the site dashboard. So if we go back, let's manage that football booster. These stats here, visitors versus visits. Yeah, so a visitor would be anyone that, I guess, any machine that's accessing the site. So, or maybe we'll say any device that's accessing the site. And then within that device, you might have multiple times that same site is accessed by the same device. So you could consider visitors, your unique visitors, and then visits certainly won't be unique, right? Those could be across several different visitors, right? One visitor could have 10 visits. So yeah, visitors is going to be unique. All right, we have a question next from Anna, who's asking about Business Hub and when adding a freeform product and filling in the details. On the customer end, it shows the color is white and the words freeform are displayed. So that's actually it's due to some changes that we made, quite some time ago now, maybe a little over a year ago. Um, it's definitely fixable. For that, I'm going to suggest that you submit a support ticket for it, and we'll kind of guide you as far as how you can resolve that. Because we will need access into your specific system. I'm not going to open up your system here. But I'll just kind of generally touch on why that happened in your case. Um, which is a good point to mention because in some of these previous Q&A sessions we have been looking at modifying your order template to include customer fields. Um, so we've touched on that topic, and it's an important thing to mention as far as what are the downsides. There are actually some downsides to doing that. All right, so let's jump into settings. From there, let's take a look at email and order templates, and let's click order templates. All right, so I still have my customizations from some of the previous sessions where we went over those topics. So let's click into my order template, and let's go into customize template. Right, so my system has a customized template. What does that mean? That means that I'm no longer using the default that the system provides. And what you want to keep in mind is whenever you make that choice, you switch to a custom template, you're essentially creating a fork, right? A split in the road, with one road continuing down the path of DecoNetwork's default template, and that separate road you're now on your own template. Let's say on the DecoNetwork road, we make a change, like this one that I'm mentioning that we made, around a year ago or more, with changes to freeform products. In order to display those changes correctly, we modified the order template. And the downside there being anyone who had customized their order template prior to that change didn't see those changes applied to their template. So because of that discrepancy between this new way that freeform products function and the way that the older order template expected it to work, there's a mismatch there, which is has some of the symptoms that you're describing, with freeform products not displaying the right color. That's now stored differently, so it needs to be pulled differently. And the product name, including freeform in front of it, again, that needs to be pulled in a different way to account for those changes. So yeah, that's just what we're mentioning here is it's something to keep in mind. There obviously is a benefit to customizing your template. Like we mentioned before, if you if you want to include, let's say, your customer fields in there, if you are using a language other than English and you want to go in and localize that and change all of the English text to your language, obviously those are huge benefits, and you would certainly want to make those that choice to customize your template. But you'll want to keep in mind that there is that downside. You're no longer using the default. So what I would recommend, if you have made the choice of using a default template, is to maybe put it on a schedule, maybe once a year, refresh that template. And so what that means is you would need to go back into your order templates. You would look in under the default template, and you would say select all for the default. You would copy that out, and you would paste it back into your custom. Right? So you're reapplying the default back into your custom. That does mean you need to go back in and reapply your customizations. So my recommendation again there is, as you're making any customizations, keep track of what those are. We have customers that I'm sure they've over the years they've customized their template. They don't even know what customizations they've made, so that it makes it difficult to update it, because you don't actually know what you've changed, and you wouldn't know what to reapply in reverting back to the default. So definitely keep track of your changes that you're making, so that you can always come back and refresh, pull the default again, reapply your changes. And so any changes that DecoNetwork has made along the way, including enhancements, improvements, pulling data a different way, pulling in new data, you'll benefit from refreshing your custom template every now and then. All right, so that should cover it, Anna. But yeah, definitely, if you're having that issue, we can certainly help you to rectify that. We'll assist you with that process of kind of refreshing the template, just like I mentioned. So submit a support ticket, and one of our gurus there will assist you on that. All right. I guess while we're on this topic, I would like to highlight a great resource that we have related to the order templates, which is over on our help site, help.deconetwork.com. If you do a search for order template, you get this really helpful article, Order Template Variable Descriptions. This is kind of a full documented list of all of the variables, or you could call them placeholders, tags, that can be put into your order template. Some of these are already in the template. Some of them, are not in that template by default, but allow you to bring in additional information to display in that template. So this is a good resource if you're kind of getting a little bit more technical, you're getting into modifying that template in big ways. This is going to be a super useful resource for you to go in, reference what's going on in terms of what data is pulling in, how am I displaying that information. I'll also mention the language that's used for those order templates. It's not unique to DecoNetwork. It is a standard language called Liquid, which this document does mention here. And there are some guides out there that, not specific to DecoNetwork, that you can also benefit from. So if you do a search for, liquid, I think it's Liquid for Designers. There's a good help article on the features that templating language has. Again, if you're getting a little bit more technical into it and you're really diving into making something unique for yourself, that's going to be another great asset as well. And we're looking to kind of bring some of that onto our help system as well, and kind of create a guide along those lines of using the Liquid language, a little bit more specific and tailored to DecoNetwork, with some examples of the kind of things that DecoNetwork users usually want to do and are possible using the Liquid language, but do require a little bit more technical expertise. So that guide along those lines will be coming down the line. All right, but yeah, thanks for raising that question. A lot of good points came from that one. All right. Next question up here, is it possible to remove items in the navigation bar when on the home page? So Justin's looking to remove designs, create, and the designer from the navigation bar. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible to remove items from the navigation bar. I'm going to assume that you just want to remove those outright, not necessarily remove them only when the user's on the home page. So let's take a look at that. If we jump into websites, I can go ahead and manage my primary store. I'll click Edit Website and then Website Pages to open up that website page editor. All right, so we see a hint of where we might do this right now down here at the bottom. So you'll notice that whenever you're managing a page, down here at the bottom control panel, you have this option Show in Menu, which does control whether or not that link displays up here at the top. So what you could do if, like you said, you don't want the designer page or the create page You go into the Pages section, you select the page that you don't want, and you uncheck Show in Menu, and then you save that change. So that's an easy way to stop that page from showing in the menu. I would say there are cases where you simply want to turn that page off entirely. You don't necessarily want to just make it not visible. You don't want anyone accessing that page through any other means. And in that case, you would want to actually go in and say, let's see, let's choose our decorated product page here. So you'll select the page, you'll go into Advanced Settings down here at the bottom, and under Page Status, you'll select Off. So setting that page status to off, pressing OK, and saving that change actually turns that page off from being accessible. So it's not just hidden away. It can't be accessed through its URL. If I type in that decorative product page URL, I get a 404 page. So that is not an existing page on my website. It turns it off completely, which again is more beneficial if you're looking to remove functionality. So in this case, I have my site set up in a way where I didn't want decorated products to be shown at all. So I turned that page off completely, and there's no way that anyone can go in and add one of these decorated products to their cart. Right? So my site is set up specifically with blank products only, and so I'm showing that as the create page. So yeah, good question there as far as how to hide pages from the navigation. And again, the two ways are turning off the page that hides it from the menu, or unchecking Show in Menu in the page editor. All right, we have a question from Evan, who's wanting to know the difference between, um, what are the different ways that you can use your home page. Specifically, he has some questions, comparing stock designs to store designs to templates. Okay, so it's more on the kind of the design side. Yeah, we can certainly take a look at that. So if we jump back here to our main admin menu, let's jump into stock designs. All right, so starting off with the question here, what's the difference between stock designs, store designs, and templates? So some of these terms are kind of overlapping. Some of them are um, separate ideas. So let's start here in stock designs. Stock designs is where you're going to place designs that you want accessible throughout your entire system. So where that applies is for any users on a multi-site plan. So if you're looking at our current plans, that's premium or above. Again, you have access to multiple web stores, and anything that you're uploading into stock designs is going to be accessible by not just your primary store, but any other affiliate store within your same system. All right, so that's the primary benefit of stock designs is availability across all of your sites. So what I usually mention to our licensees is stock designs is where you essentially going to upload your clip art. Right, any generic clip art that you want accessed across all of your sites, that's where you go to do it. Stock designs is also where you turn on any collections from DecoNetwork. So if you click stock design collections here on the left hand side, DecoNetwork does offer some collections for you to come in and turn on. We offer some free sports template collection and a black and white clip art collection. We also partner with some of the artwork providers in the industry to offer some of their design packages in DecoNetwork as well, and those do come at a cost. It's different based on each artwork supplier. Some charge monthly, Some charge royalty fees based on usage. So you can review the pricing for each of those collections right next to it. But yeah, the system will allow you to turn those on. So let's say you want, the mega collection from Digital Art Solutions, you turn that on and hit save. You'll get a notice that says you're getting charged, and then those designs will be added back into your stock designs list. All right, so stock designs has those two purposes. Um, with store designs, it's similar in that it has that same functionality of that's where you go to add designs, but now we're talking about store specific designs, right? Anything that I upload into my football booster store under store designs, it's not going to be available to my main site. It's not going to be available to my new football store. It's so anything that I upload here is just for this store only. All right, so that's how you can think of store designs unique to this specific store. All right, so that's the main difference between store and stock. Now, the secondary question is, what about types of artwork? So you have these terms like vector, raster, design, template. Um, you know, there can be some confusion there, certainly. So I'll just kind of give an overview. DecoNetwork will accept lots of different file formats for artwork, including some raster formats. Raster format would be, essentially something that's saved in pixels. So a JPEG, a PNG file, a TIFF file, anything like that would be a raster file, and we certainly accept that. Um, when you're uploading a raster file, you're not getting some of the benefits of the designer, like the ability to change colors in that design. Um, if you're looking to use it for a process like screen printing or some of these processes, sometimes depending on the resolution of that raster that you're uploading, you may be limited in terms of how large the customer can actually place that image. Raster does have that downside that it's already sampled at a specific resolution, so it has limits in terms of size. But we accept all those formats, and they're certainly usable. But yeah, no option to edit colors, and obviously no option to edit any text. Right? Any text that's embedded into that raster image it's just pixels. There's no way to edit that. Um, all right, so that's raster. On the other side, we also accept vector formats like SVG, PDF, EPS. Now, some of those are more like containers. For example, an EPS or a PDF or an SVG could contain vector elements along with raster elements. So those formats are really more containers, but for the most part, if you get one of those formats, it's usually just vector artwork. So we'll take that vector artwork. The benefit there being it's a lot easier to manipulate. You can enlarge that virtually infinitely without any degradation in quality. And we're going to pick up all of the colors present in that design, and your customer is going to easily be able to change those colors. All right, so that's raster versus vector. The last term there would be, template. So along with all of that we just looked at, what's a template? A template is anything that DecoNetwork is going to allow you to edit inside of the online designer. So here on my test site, I actually have the the DecoNetwork template pack enabled. So let's just go into the designer and see what a template, how a template functions inside of the designer. So let's see, let's change product first. Let's go with this sweatshirt here. Alright, so we've got the full body front. Let's do add design. Let's do a DTG printing design. Let's choose from our stock designs. We'll click into the sports category, and these are the templates that come in that pack. So I could select maybe this kind of retro looking soccer one here. So I'll select that design. And you'll notice that it's it's a group of, these various different design elements. So I can scale that. This is all vector, so there's no, again, no degradation in quality. I could center that. Here on the left-hand side, you'll notice because it is a template, each of these text elements can be adjusted. So, obviously this template is done from a while ago, so it's showing the date as the year is 2014. I want these for my team this year, so I can go in and change that to 2018. I could also change the color. Let's say, my team colors are, let's say, blue and white. So I could make the shirt blue maybe. And then just change the graphic to white. Right? And as I apply that change, I can, go in and apply it for each of those different design elements. So that's the benefit of a template, right? Full control over editing of that design. And as far as how you create these templates, these are, a little bit different than, uploading your own design. You can't just upload a template. In order to create a template, what you really want to do is go into Add Design and choose Create Template. And that feature is available both in stock designs and in store designs. So you can create a template that's a stock design, and you can create a template that's a store design. All right, and so this tool that we're looking at now is the DecoNetwork Template Builder. This is where we can come in, drop in design elements. So we can upload, an SVG artwork that we have. Maybe we saved it out of Illustrator or CorelDRAW. We can add files. We can place either SVG elements or raster, JPEG, or PNG images. And then along with that, we can start adding text. So the text is really what the primary thing that you want to make editable as far as the template. And so that type of element you want to add through the template builder. We give you a large selection of fonts to choose from. So you can come in, make your font choices, set your placeholder text, like that example template was related to soccer. Let's say you're doing one related to tennis. You can, type that out, set your alignment for that text, set your font style, bold, italic, whatever the case might be. So you set up kind of the placeholders, and then once you save that out, it'll look just like the ones that we're providing, where it has this kind of existing look, but the user can go in and change it, customize it. All right, so here I might say Orange High instead of SoCal High. And instead of the Knights, they're the Panthers. Right, so you can make that. And notice it's a group here. The Panthers there is a little bit large, so you can ungroup those elements. And then that does allow you to go in and actually scale those or change those individually. So the Panthers I might go in and make a little bit smaller. Same with Orange High, I might scale that down a little bit and then center both of those elements. All right, so definitely a lot of functionality there with the templates, a lot of flexibility as well, and it's a great tool to offer for your customers that maybe don't necessarily have a lot of design experience. They're not coming in with their own design. They kind of want something ready to use, and creating those templates for them is definitely a good option. Great question. Thanks for asking that, Evan. I guess it's worth mentioning, in the past, prior to DecoNetwork having that built-in template builder, the way you would get templates into the system is by uploading a CorelDRAW file. So older versions of DecoNetwork used CorelDRAW as the engine driving this online designer. That we did start to run into issues with performance using that technology, and so we've kind of moved away from that and moved more towards our own SV engine, which is what you're seeing here. And the benefit there is some of these instant changes that you see now. So the fact that as I type out changes here in my template, I'm seeing those live. That's a result of us switching to our own SVG engine. So all of these changes are happening live inside of your browser. They're no longer getting sent up to a server that's running CorelDRAW and then being sent back a result. It's happening all live, so it's a lot faster. We've seen performance improvement. You're talking huge performance improvement over how it worked before. Um, that being said, that technology is still there. We do still have customers using that, so they're still creating their templates in CorelDRAW. They're still importing those into DecoNetwork and using it that way. You just have to keep in mind there is that downside of lower performance using that older technology. So, if you upload a Corel file, and let's say you're in the designer, someone adds your Corel template to their shirt, and they go in to change, let's say, change a color of the shirt or of the text, it might take 10 seconds to apply that change. So um, it's a lot slower than what you're used to with this newer SVG technology. All right, but yeah, great topic here as far as templates. So glad I was able to show off how to make those and how it all works together in terms of stock and store designs. Great question again. All right, feel free to submit any more questions in, guys. In the meantime, I'm going to cover something that we've covered previously on some old blog posts. I think it's worth covering again in kind of a fresher look. Um, and that's the ability to um, set custom shape masks against your decoration areas or printable surfaces on your products. So um, the case where this most becomes relevant is really when you're doing products other than apparel, right? So when you're doing things like sublimated phone cases, sublimated apparel, if you're doing kind of an all-over print, you want that print to actually show that way, right? You want the print to go all the way to the edge of the shirt or all the way to the edge of the phone case, whatever it is that you're working on. And DecoNetwork has that flexibility and that technology to have your printable surface, your decoration area, have that custom shape and mask the user's design to that shape. Um, so let's take a look at how you go about creating that. So if you come into your products list, let's take a look at just the basic item that I have in here. So I'm going to edit product on the ladies cotton shirt. All right, and I'll click into views and decoration areas. So this is the tab when you're configuring a product where you go in and make changes to the print surfaces. Uh, if it's a catalog product, in order to get access to go in and make this change, you'll need to click that configure wheel on the right hand side and switch from using the master decoration areas to using custom decoration areas. Once you make that change, you'll be able to click that thumbnail and it's going to give you this window here, the manage product view window. Now, again, most likely you're not doing this with the catalog apparel. You're probably doing it with an item that you added yourself, right? So let's actually go back here. Let's jump back into products. I think I have an item that I added myself here in one of the last sessions, these soccer shoes. All right, so I'm actually going to create that mask quickly here. So I'm going to take this image here of the soccer shoe from last time. I'm going to save that out onto my desktop. And I'm just quickly going to pull that into Photoshop here and create that mask. All right, so just for the sake of time here, I will use the magic wand to kind of clear out that white background. And let's assume that this is kind of a white shoe that I can actually sublimate on. But I don't want to sublimate on the sole of that shoe, so I'm just going to quickly outline here around the sole of the shoe. And I'm just going to clear that out. And let's say I don't want to mess with the Nike logo either. So I'll just clear that out as well. I think this. Right, so I'm just kind of following that shape of the item that I'm looking to cut out. So as far as how the mask works, you'll see in our end result, but essentially we want anything that is going to show the user's design, so anything that's considered part of the printable surface or the decoration area is going to be solid black, and then anything that is considered not part of that or outside of that is going to just be a transparent pixel. Right, so that's how we're going to differentiate between what's part of our mask and what isn't. So let me just take that and cut it out of my shoe. All right, and next what I'll just do is I'll simply just turn that shape into solid black. And I can go ahead and crop that. And let's just save this out. So we'll save it out as a PNG so that it'll preserve that transparency on the parts that we don't want to be part of our mask. All right, let's switch back to DecoNetwork here. So I already have this printable surface in here. You'll notice down here at the bottom, there are some predefined shapes that you can choose from. So you have the default rectangle, you have a circle, and then you have this rounded corners rectangle. Beyond that, you can upload your own shape, which we'll do right now. So I'll select that PNG image. And you'll notice now I have this printable surface that looks just like the image that I created. Right now, the only thing you want to do, you want to make sure to do here is, obviously you want to maintain your aspect ratio of your printable surface. So it's important to keep in mind and to actually know what your real dimensions are. So let me use what's showing here in Photoshop. This may not be accurate to size, but let's just use that. So 4.17 by 4.323. All right, so that at least maintains the right aspect ratio. Um, Now you'll want to scale that printable surface to match your underlying product image. So I'll line up the bottom left there and then just kind of scale that out so it looks correct. And I think my aspect ratio might be off a bit, so let's try increasing that height a bit. Let's go 5.9. Let's try that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Right, so we've matched it up along with our product there. And so now if we were to take this into the designer, so let me just save this out. Let me make sure it's available on all stores now. Let's save that out. And let's take a look at our designer again. Alright, so let's select that shoe. Now I have the ability to, now imagine this was any other product. This isn't necessarily realistic. Imagine it was a white shoe that you could actually sublimate on, like I've seen people do it on the Converse or Vans, things like that. We can upload our image, so I'll select add printing design, and then maybe the end user there has a photo of their family, of their pet, whatever the case might be, but they have that nice image that they want on that product, and as they scale that image, it's going to be masked to that shape that you created. So it's going to give them a nice preview of what their end product might look like. All right, so again, this is useful for definitely sublimation, anything sublimation, shirts, promotional products, phone cases, shoes, all of that stuff. So it's definitely beneficial for those uses. All right, so hopefully that one helps out those guys doing sublimation. Let's see, we have a follow-up question here from Evan, who's asking, he would like to clear categories, or he would like clear control of categories on the home page. Example, men's t-shirts, women's t-shirts, baby clothes, etc. How do you create those categories? So as far as organizing your site, the best advice I can give is start with the product categories themselves. So don't try and do it on the website first. Start by categorizing your products. So you do that by going into your admin section, clicking into the products page, and then on the left hand side, right to the left of your products list, you're going to see your categories list. And this is where you can come in here and start creating some of those categories like you mentioned. Right, so let's say like you said, you want maybe kind of gender-based, so men's, women's, babies, that kind of thing. So you can't create that category structure. I'm going to create it here on my system based on having it be a top-level section. But you could also maybe put it under apparel. It's up to you. So once you have the section where you want that category to be added into selected, so I want it under all, you might want it under apparel, whatever the case might be. So once you have that selected, you'll press the add button. It'll prompt you to enter your category name. I'm going to say men's shirts or men's t-shirts. Hit OK. And then I'll just repeat that process for the others. So women's. And then we'll say infant clothes. Right, so something like that. Once you have those categories added in, you can start filing products into them. So that there are two ways you can do that. One way, which will save you a little bit of time, is by bulk selecting items. So that's a youth. I won't worry about that one. Let's actually do one more category. So let's do youth. All right, so we'll do youth t-shirts as well. All right, so here on our list, we've got that youth item, and then we've got some adult items, which are considered men's, I guess. So what you can do is, and these are not all t-shirts, but we'll just kind of go with the example. So you can select items in bulk. So let's do that one. We'll do this one. This one here. So those are kind of all the adult men's on this page. So once I've selected the ones on the page, I can go in and say modify categories and apply that action. I can leave it, I can choose to leave it in the categories that those products are filed into already, or I could choose to get rid of those existing categories and instead add a new category. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where I have those newly added categories and select men's t-shirts and apply that change by hitting save. Alright, so this is going to take those three products that I selected. It's going to assign them to men's t-shirts, and it's going to unassign them from apparel categories that they were previously filed into. Right now we see under men's t-shirts we have those three items present. And I will do the same for the women's. So there's a ladies t-shirt. Here are a couple more. So we'll select those three. We'll go in back into the bulk action menu. Once again, we'll say modify categories. We'll remove those existing ones and we'll select our own. All right, and then lastly, we'll do that quickly here for a couple of these youth items. So we'll select modify categories. So right now, I'm showing you how to do it in bulk. You can also do it individually. I'll do that for the last item. So if there's, not multiple products on that page that you can find that you would like to file in there, you could instead do it individually. Or let's say you have specific style numbers that you're going to file in there. I know I want the T3930 under my infant clothes, so I'll search for it. And obviously, there's really no point to doing a bulk action there. So instead, you can go into Edit Product. And from that Edit Product screen, you have a tab called Categories, where just like on the bulk action screen, you can delete existing categories and you can assign new categories. So I remove the existing and add it into infant clothes. All right, and so that'll take care of setting up the categories. Now, as far as displaying those on my site, now that I've applied them into the corresponding categories, for that you're going to go into the web page editor. So we'll jump back into our website here. We'll go into Edit Website, Website Pages. And what you'll be able to do is go in and say, drop in a widget. You can go in and I would recommend using, in this case, the blank product categories. So you can drop in that widget and you can select which category to display from. So let's actually go back here. So let's say we wanted our category menu here to show just men's apparel, women's apparel, youth, and infant. In order to do that, we need to group those together so that there's nothing else, in front of it or behind it. So let's go back into products quickly here. We're going to create one called by gender. And then we're going to move those into the by gender category. So just drag and drop those in to make that change. All right, and let me just resort those. All right, so we've got it there. Let's refresh our page editor. All right, from here I'm gonna again go into widgets, drop that blank product category widget back in. Now under categories, I'll select by gender, and it's gonna show me all of those categories where products are available. Now some of those categories aren't showing. Those are the ones that contain products that are not currently available on my site. You'll notice these have the orange highlight. But as long as those categories have products and those products are available to your site, you'll see those listed there. And obviously you could come back into that widget, go into design, and maybe show the category name. That might be nice to show it maybe right below the thumbnail. Right, so you can see now you've got men's shirts. You could see if it had products, you'd see the women's and the infants as well. All right, so yeah, good question there as far as how to keep your site organized and all of your products categorized and easy to access for your customers. I definitely recommend focusing on product categorization as a way to have your customers go into your site and shop in a little bit easier fashion. That, in addition to limiting which products you offer through the site, which we've covered on a previous session. So previously, we actually went in and set all of these products to be available in Business Hub only. So that's kind of the first step. And then that secondary step is to go back in, curate your list, limit which products you're offering down to just those best sellers. And then I guess subsequent to that is what we covered today, which is now you have these 200 products that you want on your site. Let's categorize those. Let's optimize how we're sorting those and make it super simple for a customer to do business with us. All right, so we're out of time for today. Thanks everyone for joining in. Thanks everyone for asking those great questions. We'll be back here next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So definitely tune in next time. All right, take care, guys.